Okay, so we're going to continue with our MyFuWu application. So from your previous class, the applications basically stop at the registration page, and this page basically in the register page dot. And within this page, it basically consists of a simple registration form, which contain email, password, and confirm password. And we have a remember me and a checkbox and a register button within the columns widget. And for this class, we're going to look into how to implement the backend and also database aspect for the registration page. But first, let's start with the getting all the email and password from the registration page. And definitely we're going to need our text editing controller for email and password, and also confirm password. And then update text field, each of the text field with their own controller. For email controller, for password controller, and also for the confirm password controller. All right, so now we have those controller assigned for each text field. Next, we're going to move on to the register button. So our register button here handled through the elevated button. So to make it easier, we just move our curly bracket here as a method. So define as confirm. We start with the confirm dialog first, which is confirm. Give it a name, confirm, or we can register dialog first. All right, so because we want to be able to ask user, are you sure you want to register or not? So we're going to implement register dialog first, and then continue to create method register dialog. So the register dialog, so what we're going to have in the register dialog, but first we're going to have the text editing and everything to check first. So let's start with string email and get the email, get the password, get the confirm password as variable email password and confirm password. And then we can do a little bit of data sanitation through the use of, for example, let's start with empty. So this empty basically is just a simple just to check that if user enter their email, their password, and their confirm password properly. So here we can just show, for example, that if it's empty, implement just a simple snack bar. Just a simple snack bar, which to indicate user that they need to fill in the form. So, and then to return. So this if block here will check first if email is empty, password is empty, or confirm password is empty, and then just show a simple snack bar that will pop up at the bottom to show a simple notification for user. So for example, like if I press on the register button at bottom down here, so since we don't have any of these, any of the data yet, so we just show user a simple snack bar. So for the snack bar, actually, you can modify them. You can just set the duration, I believe the location also, the size, the color, the behavior. If you want to implement any animation, you can also do that through snack bar. Other than snack bar, you can use simple tools, but for tools you need to import. Let me check if we have tools here. If tools is part of, no, we don't have, we need to import Flutter tools to be able to use tools. Tools is basically just a simple pop-up on the screen that uh, show a simple notification. But usually for mobile application, we use a snack bar because it came with a Flutter SDK, so we use snack bar. So this is a snack bar for the data sanitation. Okay. All right, so you can do some other data sanitation. For example, if you want to check if password is not confirmed with the password is not same, you can also do that. So we can create another snack bar, and the snack bar basically just to let user know that password do not match. Or if you want to implement for the password itself, for example, like the password.lang is less than, um, we can also do that, and you can do as many as data sanitation as possible. You can also check for email data sanitation. Okay, so for email data sanitation, just make sure that you have email correctly defined. Um, if I remember reject expression, that actually you can check for email match, and just not. I'm going to implement not for this, which is not reject. So this is basically one of the reject expression that you can use. This is on the outside, right, on the inside. So if not matched with the email that we have from the user, which the reject expression will check for if it contain at, if it contain dot, and that's the requirement. Okay, so for reject, for reject, you can check more details through the reject to be able to use the okay, Flutter built-in Dart that comes with the Dart core. There's a library called reject for pattern matching. Okay, it's not just for email. You can also implement for other purposes instead of just email. So you can learn more on the reject from the reject page, and you can learn to find match in your text. And for email, and this is basically reject for email. All right, so some gatekeeper there. So you can just add more if you would like to, but I'm going to stop there. So I'm going to implement, yes, you need to have a written. Written is that you do want to continue to execute this method, register dialog. All right, so once you have your register dialog ready, now you can just start with the show dialog. Okay, the show dialog windows. So the show dialog window is just a confirmation dialog. So for the confirmation dialog, you can use what we call as an alert dialog. And the alert dialog is basically going to build up a confirmation. Are you sure or not? Okay, so alert dialog for the show dialog comes with the following structure. Okay, so you have your content, no, not registration success. Registration success is something else. So for the action, we can have register, and the other one we can have text button for cancel. For register button, we can have our on press to go to finally register, which is here. I'm going to call another method, call register user finally. Right, so we're going to call another method. We're going to create another method called register user, which is the method that basically finally responsible for user registration. All right, so for the register dialog, just to show, it's not a register. Just put a title, register this account. And then the button, let me just try to call this first. So let me try to put email first. Let's say slamaji@gmail.com. Let's try the password ABC123 and ABC123. Oh yeah, for password also you can use reject. Means that if you want to have like a capital letter, small letter, you have number, you have symbol, that also can be implemented through reject. So let me try. For register, you can see this is what we call as a show dialog. Okay, so this is show dialog. And for the show dialog to appear, it needed to fulfill or satisfy all the if statement here. If it basically satisfy all the if statement, and then it basically can continue to the show dialog block at the bottom down here. So this basically constitute the show dialog. But we just put it registration successful, not the registration successful. We can just put are you sure you want to register this account or something like that? Okay, so try again. So are you sure you want to register this account? So this is basically just a confirmation. A show dialog is a confirmation asking user either if you just want to have a registered account, or you can you can customize the register or the show dialog. Okay, there are more customization. For this purpose, I just want to use the show dialog for this purpose only. All right. Okay, so if user press on the button in the from the action section here, which is the register button, and then it will basically continue to register user. If you want to pass parameter from here, should be fine. So for example, if you want to pass on some other parameter, let's say you have your email and password. If you want to pass to register user, so which means that you have to add positional parameter for email and also for password. Okay. But definitely you need to implement on press, but you have to call this. Okay. And then that. Of course, you have also to add the pop, the on-press navigator pop here, so that you can close this alert dialog properly, right? Put it there. It's something like, since the register user method at the bottom down here, they didn't have any function just yet, so I can just press on this register. I need to continue first, because I forgot about this. Non-assistant library is not in the section. Let me just try to reload. So register, oh, sorry, reload. Open, private email. Okay, so register. All right. Okay. So that is basically for the show dialog. So if, like, for example, you just want to test for the reject, I just remove Gmail, and then try register. You can, oops, this one should be, it should stop here and not going to continue. Oh, this one is a registration successful, forgot about that. Please enter valid email. Yeah, I'm supposed to be that. Okay, so register, you can say, please enter valid email address. So it means that we didn't satisfy the email requirement for this. So we need to put like full email credential there before we can move on to the register show dialog. Right. Okay, so that's basically the part for the show dialog and register dialog. Here I purposely show this. This is basically your visible status set to true. So this is visible means that it will follow. If I hide this, it didn't show that, but it's supposed not to show by default. It's not supposed to show visible by default, so which means that I have set somewhere within the visible operation. If visible equal true, it will turn false. If it visible equal, this means that it being triggered somewhere. I don't want this to be triggered, means that by default my visible set to false. But then it suddenly trigger the visible for the obscure tag to be visible. The on press, if I didn't press the icon button, it's not supposed to show. My obscure text shouldn't be true. I tap on that, then it's become false. Which means that I need to set this to true to become false. Try that. Yes. Wow, I'm not sure why. What happened there? Okay, that's just for the visible status. So if you want to implement this eye icon there, you can just basically add the icon visibility to your sorry, the suffix icon to your input decoration. Okay, so just add that the same with your decoration at the bottom down here. Oops, sorry. The label tag, so we can put it here. Just take the required suffix icon and add that to your decoration. Yeah, oops. Yeah, decoration. Okay, so that you can have the same. ABC 1, 2, 3. ABC 1, 2, 3. So they're supposed to have the same visibility. Oh, I didn't set the text field visibility for the second one. So the text field also need to add the obscure text already there. The where is it? The visible is equal true for the icon. And what's the difference? I forgot. You have that. You have this. It's supposed to be able to show the. Oh, I need it to be. I need to implement the same also for the second text field. So because the second text field is basically for different data. So my button here, they need icon button, input decoration, obscure tag visible. The same. It needed to be set to visible for the obscure text, not just true. So now we can have them together. Okay. So if you show height, so it means that you can have your password show and hide. And then we can just set email and ready to register. Okay. Okay, so that's basically just for the for the registration input form. But we haven't yet touched on the backend yet. So it means that we need to work on our backend. And since this is our registered user here, and we have our email and our password. Okay, so for this, what we need now, we have a form already. So let's say this is our form. Okay, so we have our form already here. So we want to, so we have these two data here, email and password, and we want to get this out, send to our server over the internet. Okay, so we have our internet here. So somewhere, I'm going to draw it badly here. And this is our internet, and then send to our server somewhere over the internet. And let's say that this is our server here. And we're going to hide this. And the server also contain a database server. Okay, so the our database server. So usually for web application, mobile application, mobile application, so we use our trusty PHP as our backend. Okay. The reason that why I stick with PHP is because it's easy to publish our application, publish our backend, also database. Majority of web hosting out there, they support PHP, MySQL as their default service. And that's why I still use those, even though you can also use others, but the setting up the configuration may take some times, and that's basically a little bit problematic later on, a bit slow to use them, also to demonstrate them. But ideally, they are all the same. The concept basically the same. The idea is basically the same. And all right, so we want to get the data, we want to send to the internet, and then we want for the PHP here to get the data, email and password. So when they get the email and password through post array, so usually you want to send the data as a post for the API, for the backend. And then once the backend receive the data, it will send to the database to store the data into our database in our table user. And once the process completed, it will return back and then send back the status to user as a JSON. Okay, as a JSON data. So this is very bad drawing here. So this is JSON. So usually when any communication between application and the database, you will always require this backend API, the application programming interface, to receive the data and then deal with the data. And in this case, we're going to insert the data into the database through SQL insert statement. All right, so that is basically the whole idea here, what I'm trying to achieve. So let's try that. Okay, so to be able to use or to be able to interact with the database, with the backend, we need a special library called HTTP. All right, so this is a Flutter HTTP, which is a very useful library to have. And as you can see, any HTTP request made through Flutter application, usually you can do it through HTTP request. And this is very active library and a lot of download from developer. And it can run on all platforms. So which means that you don't have to worry about its compatibility. It run on all platforms, right? So how to use them? Go to installation. With Flutter, you can install them straight away from your console. And at the bottom down here, go to your terminal and paste and enter. So wait for a while, and you should be able to get there. Check your PubSpec YAML. You should have your HTTP library 1.5.0 import into your project. All right, so once you have that confirmed, means that your library is there, is working. Now you can use the library into your project. Okay, so now we want to work with the backend. We want to send the data to database. We want to deals with that. So let me just do short preparation for the register user here. So we're going to start with HTTP request, right? So we're going to start with HTTP request, but to be able to use HTTP request, this is basically the basic body for the HTTP request, and with the response code and everything, but I'm going to backtrack a little bit here. Because this is going to require a number of, this is basically the basic building block for the HTTP request, to be able to send data to our backend. This require our HTTP library. So to be able to use the HTTP library, we need to import the library itself, which is we have to put with prefix HTTP. Okay, so the prefix HTTP means that when you import your HTTP, it's basically automatically become as an object. Okay, so now you have your HTTP package imported and ready to send our email and password to our post array. So here, what you have here is HTTP post, URI parse. This is the URL for the backend. Okay, for the server itself. So in our case, we don't have yet set up our server and we need them. So for now, I'm not going to put anything just yet for the URI to send to where. This is the back end here. And the data, since we use post array, we need to put it into body section here. So the body sections contain two parameters that we want to send to the server. One is email and the other one is password. Okay, because we just want to have a simple registration. So we just send to the server with these two data within the post body array. And then for the HTTP post, since this is an asynchronous operation, okay, so we have to remember that this is an asynchronous operation, means that when we send the data to the server, we have no idea when the data or when the response is going to return back because this is through the internet. So this is an asynchronous operation. So sometimes I just put some await statement if needed. I'm not quite sure. Sometimes you have to, sometimes you don't have to. Since this is an asynchronous operation, so we put an await statement. But usually you don't put future here because I'm not quite sure the problems with future. We just put void. But the method here is still register user with an asynchronous um, define. Okay, so the asynchronous basically will wait for this to complete. Okay, we wait for this to complete and wait for the response. So usually you have to do that, but I'm not sure if it is needed because it seems that able to use that without even having uh to put a wait. Okay, so yeah, let's just try this. And then the HTTP request will wait, and then when the response comes in, it will return back something. Okay, so it will return as a response. So if we within the bracket here, this is where we want to return the response. So I'm just going to quickly print our response body here. Okay, so just to print out and show what we have within the debug console. All right. Okay, so this is the HTTP block. Sometimes you have to use await, sometimes you don't have to, but we'll check later. We'll check later if we really need it because there's a new update to the Flutter. Maybe they remove that. Maybe you can use them without the use of await. But if you use await in front, means that this is an asynchronous operation, so it will wait for this to complete. But to be able to use this, you need to define your method as asynchronous. Okay. All right, so now we have this, so we need to set up our server. So to set up our server, uh, you need to install XAMPP. Okay, so I do believe that you're familiar with XAMPP already. So this is XAMPP. So XAMPP comes with Apache, MySQL, and the rest of the services. But for XAMPP, we just need the Apache service and also MySQL database. That's it. Okay, that is the only requirement for XAMPP. and we want to use both of these service as follows. Okay, so we have our server, which is PHP server run through Apache server application, and MySQL database as a server database. Okay, so MySQL database as server database. All right. So how do we know our server is working? All you need to do is just go to your web browser and then just type in localhost. And if it shows the following, welcome to XAMPP, means that your XAMPP is working, and it shows the localhost dashboard. All right. Okay, so just to test the server application directory basically located. Usually, if you install XAMPP, the default directory is under drive C, under folder name XAMPP, and the server directory is basically under folder names htdocs. All right, so since I already have like a few applications before this, but for you, if you are new with the installation, so usually you might have like just a few folders and file for the XAMPP to work with. But these are all my previous application for the for classes. So you might have like dashboard, you might have like the Bitnami, the favor icon, the index, only a few, right? Okay, or and XAMPP folder also, or maybe Webalizer. I'm not sure because this is my old installation. Okay, so let's say like if you want to create or you want to set up your backend, so the first thing you need to do is to set up your server directory. So your server directory, you can just create one folder inside your root HTTP server. So just create a folder. So within the folder, just create MyFuWu. Because the name of application is basically MyFuWu, so I just create a folder directory named MyFuWu. So within MyFuWu here, this is the server directory. You might want to further have like a subfolder here, like for images later for the backend itself. So normally you're going to set up a subfolder. So you just name the subfolder as an API. So these are all related to your backend API. Folder for, let's say, assets, anything related to the server application assets that your app is going to use later on. And what else? Yeah, let's start with that first. Okay, so means that now you have your API, you have asset. So how do you access the server directory? So all you need to do now is just go back to your localhost slash MyFuWu. So this is your home your home directory, which basically you can see there's an API and asset folder there. So this is basically locally available. But you don't want to use this as your application address. Usually you just want to use the IP address. You cannot use localhost within the application. You need to find the IP address of your application. So it means that you need to go to command prompt to find your IP address. So since I'm at home, so my IP address is basically the following, which is this IP address. I believe this is the IP address for my home, for my computer at the moment. So just copy that and put that and replace localhost with the IP address slash MyFuWu. So it means that that is basically my IP address for the server directory. But you have to be aware the IP address, they might change if you move to a different network, if you move from your college, from your residential area to schools, the IP address might change. So you have to check the IP address every time that you want to try run your application. So now this is currently my IP address, this is the URL for my server. So all I need to do now is just to replace my URI parse with the URL. So since I'm putting all my backend into API folders, I'm going to put into slash API. I'm going to create one PHP file called register.php. So the register.php, this is basically will be located inside the folder API. So it means that inside here is going to have a file name register.php. So you can just create a new folder, new file here. But definitely you want to create using maybe you can use a Notepad plus plus, create new file and put it here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this file here, I'm going to save this as PHP. So for PHP, for those who are not familiar with for PHP, let me just start with just a very basic command for PHP. All right, and then you can just close them, PHP. And I'm going to just echo something, hello PHP, just that, okay? So save the file, put it into the folder called register.php. And this is all file. This is basically PHP file and should be located inside this folder, register.php. Or no need to, because we already defined as PHP. Okay, so now this is a PHP file. And you should be able to see the file inside here, inside the server directory, XAMPP h.dot MyFuWu API, and you can actually call that file register.php straight away, register.php. So if you give the names, and this is basically the file is supposed to print out something, but I'm not sure it we just mistakenly put the name. Let me just open that through my XAMPP. Oh, not echo. Supposed to be supposed to be echo. Hello world. That's a simple hello world. But sometimes if you create using is it like PHP close? No, supposed to close that one. Oh yeah, up here. PHP and closing PHP. I'm not sure why it might have forgot already, like PHP. And just use arbitrary schools. Supposed to be the opening and closing scripts. Oh, I didn't remember them. For PHP, it's supposed to have, oh, yeah, that's true. That's basically, you just echo things. And let's try it again. If you call that, you don't have error here. I'm not sure. Sometimes the shows error. Supposed to shows that. Let me try that one more time. Call it again. Yeah, it's supposed to print out hello world. Okay, so when you call this hello world, it should return hello world because I echo them. All right, so just to test them, register page. So what happened is that I'm going to try to press a button, and then my debug console at the bottom down here should print out a response body. Okay, should print out response body. So I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to clear the consoles first, and it should print out down here. So register. So again, register. All right, so there you go. Hello world. Okay, so it means that the server basically now respond. The PHP respond hello world back to the application. Okay, so just return back hello world to the application because my my register.php here return echo hello world. All right, so we don't want to have a written hello world. We just want to get database. Get a user variable here that we send to the server. So it means that we can have dollar email equal post email, but not password. We just have password already defined. Okay, so we have these two to get email and password for user. So it means that this is just to get value from post array that we send from our application. Okay, so we send from our register page here, which is the body section here, email and password. So this email and this password. So if you want to see them, all you need to do is just get email, email, password, password. So if you want to, let's say, just echo back email and echo back password. Okay. So echo email, echo password. Okay. Right, so it means that we will return back the email and password back to the debug console. So click on the console and register and register. It should return back the email and password. Where's the email and password? Return back email and password for the post email, for the post password. Should print out. Oh yeah, there you go. So you can see email and password, which is basically the data that being sent to this server, supposedly server, because the development for XAMPP is basically we just do it everything in the same PC. The development is one PC. But actually what we are doing now is basically this. We are doing this, we are sending over the internet and we just simulate that the PC itself is basically a self-contained development environment. So we send the data and then we send to this register user.php, but we haven't yet worked with the database. All right. So for now, we just send to the backend PHP, and the PHP, what it did is just get the email and password from user and then echo back the email and password from user. Okay, so that is the fundamental of PHP. So definitely there are more to this, but this is just the concept. What I want you to get for this for this video here, for this recording here. Okay, so get the data from user, send the data through HTTP request over the internet, but in this case through our XAMPP. This is our XAMPP. And then when it get through the server will receive the request, which is we send these two data. And how the data is being received is as follows. This is variable, email and password, and this is the post array for email, the post array for password, which correspond to the key value pair here, which is email and password. It needed to be the same, it needed to be same email and password because it will be captured by here. If we put it differently, we cannot get email and password if we change to a different key. So this is the key. This is the key. This is the post array because we send as a post data. A little bit more secure compared to get array. Post array, they somehow put the data into the body, not into the URL, the body of the data. So it is a little bit more secure if we send the data over email and password inside the body through the post array. And then the response here, if we receive a response and return back, because we haven't yet deal with the database, I'm going to talk about database later. Okay, so for now, remove database. So PHP just get the data and then just echo back the data. So in our case, usually if you want to echo the data, you want to echo as a JSON format. So usually we just use like data equal array. We build the array first. And then this is basically the proper way of echo JSON encode with the data itself. And that's basically a proper way of returning back the data as a JSON data format. And if we try again, we try to register again and clear our debug console at the bottom down here. Register, send the data. As you can see, it basically will return data as JSON data format. And you have email and password written as a JSON data. Okay, so key value, key value. So that's basically correspond to these two structure here. Create an array and then use one of the PHP function called JSON encode and encode the data as array and then return back. So echo means that we return back. we return back. So we echo JSON data back to the application, so the application can use them to do decision or to update UI or to inform user of something and something. Okay. But this is just a simple or simplification of how the backend works. I'm not talking about database just yet here. Okay, just want you to understand this concept here. Okay, back and forth, back and forth. So every time you press this button, send the data, this is what happening. Okay, we haven't yet talked about the database. I'm not going to touch on that just yet. So for this, just please understand this for now. Okay.